Welcome back, Harrisburg. Thank you for joining us for the second of two Facebook Live and HBG Channel 20 Community Conversations this Friday afternoon. Our topic now is going to be the Harrisburg School District, what you need to know at home and what's going on within the district. I'm joined today by two terrific guests. We have Superintendent Chris Selmer, and we have the Chief Academic Officer for the Harrisburg School District, Dr. Susan Sneath.
Hi.
I want to thank both of you for being here, and enthusiastically so. I thought we could begin the conversation today, and we will get to your questions soon, with a little bit of positive news and breaking news, which is that this coming Monday at 4 o'clock, we're going to have a teacher parade. It'll be a driving parade with teachers going around the community, and it will be led by the Harrisburg Police in coordination with our great partnership between the Harrisburg School District and our community policing unit. I want to give special thanks to Jody Barksdale and the Harrisburg Educational Association for really being the driving force behind this parade. But it's an effort to have a little bit of community celebration and support during these difficult times. And members of the community, children, their families are encouraged to go out on their porches and cheer and celebrate as the teachers come by. With that said, I know that there are a lot of questions about what's happening in our educational system here in Pennsylvania. There's been a lot of change in a short period of time. And I've got a series of questions, and we want to begin with you, Mr. Superintendent. And maybe you could just begin with a little bit of a legislative overview about where we stand in Pennsylvania at the moment with the Harrisburg School District in particular.
Great. And again, thank you, Mayor, for having us on today. We appreciate it. So earlier this week, legislation did make it through the House and Senate regarding emergency legislation to support school districts. Some of the highlights of that legislation are there's a mandate of 180 days of school. That has been waived. There's an hours mandate of 900 or 990 hours of education. That has been waived. There are stipulations in the bill regarding a continuity of education and really for school districts to make a best effort in order to keep some continuity of education going within their school district and community. There's also provisions in the bill regarding continuation of wages for school employees, as well as PACER's contribution credit for school employees. There's also a transportation provision within the bill, and there's also a provision around special education and the outreach districts are required to do around with our special education parents. So again, those are just some of the highlights, but the legislation was much needed given the current situation with the coronavirus here in Harrisburg and abroad.
Okay, thank you for that summary. I wanted to ask you, one of the things that we've talked about is utilizing Channel 20, where we are right now, as an opportunity for programming for the district, and I wanted to hear your thoughts about that.
So as the mayor mentioned, we've been in contact with each other several times over the past week regarding an opportunity to use Channel 20 as an outreach of educational services to our community. So we are in discussions, and the district does see great potential in an option as we move through the next couple of weeks regarding Channel 20 and ability to deliver instructional education to our students within the Harrisburg School District. So I know, and I'm sure Dr. Sneath will touch on it a little later, we are very excited about the potential, the opportunity. Recently, this week, our teachers, in a really unbelievable effort, reached out to close to 5,000 of our students and families, one, to see how they're doing in this time of crisis, but also to collect some data for us regarding what technology, TV access, et cetera, is in the home. And based on the current statistics, over 95% of our families have access to cable our over-the-air television. So we find that to be very promising, given these unique times, for us to use those forums as a way to stay connected and continue the educational services for our students. So again, on behalf of the district mayor, I appreciate you reaching out and your willingness to partner with us to continue some, continuity of educational services for our students in the Harrisburg School District.
Thank you. And so stay tuned for more to come here on Channel 20. And remember that these Facebook Live events may reach people on Facebook, but even if you don't have an internet provider, but you do have access to a television, you can watch Channel 20, and it's another means of getting the word out. So more to come. Let's talk a little bit about, I understand there's a virtual meeting coming up on March 30th. Can you tell us what people should look for there?
Sure. So normally governance meetings are held once a month in the boardroom at 1601 State Street. Given the very unique circumstances we're all under, we are actually going to have a virtual board meeting on Monday night. The board meeting will be held virtually through a Zoom platform at 6 p.m. Over the weekend, we will be advertising on our website how our constituents can link into that meeting so they can watch the meeting while it's happening live. We're also going to record the meeting, so if someone can't attend at 6 o'clock, they'll be able to watch that meeting in the days thereafter. So again, just trying to use technology to keep the operations of the school district going. One note for the public comment piece, and this will be, again, this was put in the newspaper yesterday, but will also be on our website. There'll be an email address that if constituents have public comment that they would make if they were physically at a board meeting, they could do that through an email to our board secretary. The comment should be in accordance with our policy 903, which discusses public comment related to the business at hand of the meeting. So that will be available, that will be posted, and then those comments will be due by 2 p.m. on Monday. And then what will happen is we will read those public comments at 6 o'clock through our board secretary. So again, we're trying to conduct the meeting in accordance with, if we were in person, but using, technology to be able to deliver that meeting and keep the business of the school district, moving forward.
Good, and we talked a little bit about the new legislative law, which is allowing meetings to exist in a virtual way. More and more meetings, including city meetings, are going to take place over the duration of this health crisis in a virtual manner. It sounds like you're using a Zoom platform. It will also then get replayed and rebroadcasted after the fact, and questions can be submitted via email. As soon as we have that information, we'll post that, and we'll help disseminate that information as well. But again, this meeting is Monday, the 30th, and it will be the first virtual meeting of the Harrisburg School District.
Yes, thank you.
Good. A lot of people are asking really basic questions like, what's going to happen with prom? What's going to happen with graduation? And thought we'd give you a chance to speak to those.
My heart pours out for our seniors in the class of 2020. Those students have worked, so many years to get to the point where, when spring comes, you have so many positive activities, prom, graduation, scholarship banquets, concerts, etc. And it is heart-wrenching to know that we don't know what is going to happen with those events. I'm currently working to finalize a message that I will be disseminating to the class of 2020, and part of that message, Mayor, will be, we have two choices to make. We can, feel bad about the situation at hand, or we can rise and figure out a way to honor the class of 2020, and it may be with methods that are unique and unorthodox, but they deserve their due recognition regardless of what the coronavirus has done to the city, the state, and the country. And I believe in partnering with our students, we are going to be able to find a way to truly honor their accomplishments. And again, we have work to do over the next couple of weeks, but we are going to work with our principals, we're going to work with our student council leadership, our student body, and we are going to come together as one, as an administration, with our principals, with our teaching staff, and with our students, and we will figure out a way at some point, whenever that may be, to honor them if indeed this is a prolonged closure. If the closure ends sooner, certainly our goal would be to resume normal activities, but given the statistics and what we're seeing, obviously there's concern about how prolonged this situation could be for all of us. So again, if it is a prolonged situation, we are going to work to find a way to appropriately honor our class of 2020 like they so richly deserve.
Now, obviously, we're all preparing for a deadline to be extended, but what is the current deadline for the school district in terms of the expected return at the moment?
Current legislation, the current order from Governor Wolf was April 6th. We would be closed till April 6th. And then there would be 2 days where staff could come in. There'd be additional cleaning done within the buildings. But then our school calendar, actually Thursday, Friday, and Monday, we had days in our current calendar that we would be out of session for that holiday break. Our plan is just to keep our calendar intact. So for all intents and purposes, our students would come back on Tuesday the 14th. We would resume normal activity within all our buildings.
All right, but people should be prepared for a potential extension of that deadline.
Yes.
And indeed, the possibility that we may not return to physical classrooms this school year. But that decision hasn't been made yet.
Correct.
Can you address a little bit, and then we'll talk to Dr. Sneath, but just a little bit about how the educational transformation that we are seeing in response to this virus interplays with the recovery plan, which everyone has worked so hard to put in place for the district?
Well, the recovery plan work is still ongoing, even with our attention being so heavily focused on the response to the coronavirus. Dr. Samuels, who's our court-appointed receiver, she and I, we speak daily on updates about the current status of the district, but also about the recovery plan. So she is working with PFM, trying to make sure that work continues, even though we're in very, unique and uncertain times. As far as, educational delivery and continuity, one partnership that we've announced this morning is a partnership with WITF regarding their programming that they offer on their 2 stations, which are WITF TV and WITF Kids. And the programming and what Dr. Sneath and her team have been working on is how to link that programming into our current curriculum. And again, Dr. Sneath will get into more detail, but it really ties in with our conversation earlier, Mayor, about the use of this channel to also broadcast curriculum to our students throughout the school district. So we're really excited because we're in unique times, and even part of the legislation that talks about the continuity of education talks about it. You have to be very broad in your thinking, and you need to be very flexible in what you may or may not be able to deliver, but certainly looking at access and ensuring that we have equitable access for our students. And that's been, that's an uphill battle, admittedly. But I think over the past 2 weeks, the school district has really responded well with thinking outside the box, trying to come up with new ways of moving forward, partnerships with WITF, with you, Mayor, using the assets that are available to us as a community to really support our students, even though they're at home. So again, really excited about where we're moving, given these uncertain times, and we just want to do everything we can as a school district to continue to serve our students and our community. We're a service agency, and this is the work we should be doing. And I would just say, my last point is I do believe as a school district we are going to come out stronger because of this current situation. I think the work that's being done will create more flexibility and really more ingenuity in what we're doing as a school system. So while it's very difficult times right now, I do believe there's silver linings that will come once this pandemic passes, hopefully sooner than later. But again, I'm really proud of our team. I'm proud of our principals, our teachers, our custodians, our food service workers. Mayor, we've been working on the food distribution program with your office and community policing. Just a phenomenal effort to try to address the food insecurities we know exist in our community. So I personally, being newer to Harrisburg, I've been really impressed the way everyone's been pulling together to really support the community at whole.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent, for that message and that bit of optimism amidst these difficult times. And I too believe that we will rise together to the challenges and be stronger for them. And I can attest that I feel that the partnerships that are being forged in the midst of this adversity are very strong and will lead us into a good future. Dr. Sneath, as the Chief Academic Officer for the district, I know so much emphasis had been put in focusing on improving the academics of the district prior to this crisis, and now with the health crisis, can you talk a little bit about sort of the impact on priorities and how priorities may be changing?
Sure. We've been really working to systematize and create foundations for teaching and learning in Harrisburg. Our focus was really focused on improving our curriculum, our instruction, our assessment, using data to make decisions, our system of supports for children academically and behaviorally, our school climates. So we were working really hard in collaborating with our amazing teachers, our amazing administrators, community partnerships as well, to try to get some systems in place for continuous improvement. That was the goal. And we're continuing with that work. We've stopped for a little to make sure that we were thinking differently about how we can reach every child in Harrisburg during this unprecedented time in education. And we really wanted to think outside of the box to make sure that every single child, one way or another, is exposed to the learning that they deserve.
Right. Well, I think the question on a lot of people's minds is what is this going to look like moving forward? And we talked a little bit about timelines and how everything is, in process of potentially shifting. But can you sketch out a vision for
Sure.
for what families in the Harrisburg School District can expect moving forward?
I'm happy to. So basically, when this came upon us, we've been kind of evolving in layers. The first layer was, let's get something out to everyone. And we used our website, and the team that I work with put together ideas for learning at home that would incorporate items that our families would most likely have at home. Then a couple days later, we added another dimension and put together a really comprehensive list of online resources, and we continue to add to those online resources as they become more and more available to us. Then we wanted to make sure that, okay, well, if they don't have the internet and they can't get access to this, maybe they have apps. So we put together a comprehensive list of learning apps for children pre-K all the way through 12th grade, and we added that to the enrichment opportunities. And then we really needed to think, when that additional 2 weeks of closure came to mind, or came to be, we needed to think differently about how do we actually reach everyone. So we were talking about different ideas, listening to different school districts. A lot of people automatically go to that online learning platform, which is wonderful. But in Harrisburg, that wasn't enough. That's not enough to really make sure that we're reaching the needs of every child. So we started thinking about, okay, well, what do most families have access to? And truly, most families have access to television. And my thinking was, when you can work with such an expert partner like WITF, who already has tried and true educational television in place, maybe we can do something together. And maybe we can help them think about what kids need right now at this point in the year, and maybe they can help us make sure that we get the message out to all of our families. So we started kind of going with this. We reached out to WITF. They have an expert team of educators and programmers and I don't know what else they do on television, but they've been working with us side by side to look at where we are in the school year, what are the big ideas that need to still be covered between now and potentially the end of the school year, and what programming is already in place that could address some of those needs, and how can we get that message out. So they've developed a wonderful learning at home option on their website, and they are now developing sort of a crosswalk between what the curriculum is in Pennsylvania, what kids still need to be able to be exposed to, and the TV shows that they already have in line, so that we can say, okay, well, Mom and Dad, if you have a child who's 8 years old, you might consider putting them on this station or this on this channel, on this program a couple times a week, and it'll help keep them reviewed in phonetics or vocabulary or language or mathematics or science. So that's what they've been working on, and they're amazing at getting, it's pretty, it's usable. The other thing that we were really thinking of is, even though a child might be 16 years old, not every child at 16 years old is developmentally prepared for what general average 16-year-olds are prepared for. Some of them have some disabilities and developmental delays that make some of our channels that are our programs that are for younger children more accessible, more directed for them. So we really were thinking like, okay, well, TV, this kind of program can meet the various needs of the children in our school district and expose them to it. So that's when our wheels started turning. And on Monday, this weekend, WITF is going to put out a menu of options that we are going to also put out to our families and encourage our families and caregivers to make sure our children are watching specific TV shows to specifically meet some of their educational needs at this time.
That's terrific. I understand the emphasis on television and the partnership with WITF, and again, Channel 20 is eager to assist in any way that we can. I imagine people watching this at home are thinking, what are the needs of the district and what can individuals do to help? Is there a need for more portable computers? Is there a need for distribution of homework packets or questions that are in the
Sure.
minds of listeners?
So, I mean, it's going to be a matter of when the decision comes and what's the decision going to be. If we're going to stay closed, we really would like to take the opportunity to even to customize what we broadcast as much as humanly possible to truly meet the direct needs of our students. So, for example, if we have access, for example, to this channel, perhaps some of our teachers can start to film themselves giving a lesson to kindergarten in our open court series, or can we stream a Eureka lesson, which is currently found online and is our K-5 mathematics program? Can we stream it so that kids can access it on television? The thing that's missing really is that interaction. So can our teachers provide perhaps office hours so students can watch a program and then ask questions? So there's all kinds of ideas that are kind of running through our minds at this time. As soon as we know what the final decision is, we will start putting those plans into action. As far as what we need parents to be really supportive. We need families to continue making sure their needs are met. We have a hotline in place. If there's something that we haven't addressed that they have questions about, they can call that hotline number. We also have an email access. It's covid19@hbgsd.us for specific questions related to this crisis. So we're really trying to find every which way to make sure we can connect with our families, communicate with our families, and that our families will help model the value of education, how this is not a week-long blizzard, this is not a Christmas vacation. We still have a lot of work to do, and we need our families to support us in that work at home.
Please.
If I could add, the device question has come up frequently in the past 2 weeks. And so the survey we did this week with our teachers clearly demonstrated that the access to TV at a 95% rate is significantly more than the access with devices and also internet capability within the home. And so our belief, as Dr. Sneese said, as we move forward, is it's going to be a blended model for Harrisburg that probably will be kind of the ticket, so to speak. So, as far as devices, as far as, internet access, certainly we have resources available within the school district right now, but there's also, the coordination of deployment, the coordination of training, both for teachers and students, if they're not accustomed to delivering instruction in an online platform. So I think as a school district, as we continue to work through the process of what are the next steps over the next week or two, I think we foresee a model where there's multiple means to support the community. And so the device piece is certainly on the table for us, but I think we're really going to have to look at that systematically and really targeted if we're going to look at, maybe issuing devices to certain grade levels within the school district. But it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I would say that's that phase 3, that next step over the next coming weeks. And as Dr. Sneese said, it's really going to, hinge on what is the long-term situation for the closure of the school district.
Yeah. So education, or at least the means of delivering education, is changing in Harrisburg. And Dr. Sneath, I think your emphasis on the need for support from the family is really well directed. One of the only positives that I see in this crisis is that it will hopefully provide an opportunity for families to spend more time together at home and focused. And I think the call needs to go out to all families to stress the importance of education for the children and their households and extended families, and to assist in this new hybrid method of online and television and at-home learning. And we'll put the email and the other information out as best we can, and we will help disseminate information as it develops. And again, I'll encourage people to tune in as well at the March 30th virtual meeting to get the latest information next week. Moment, I'm going to turn it over to you. I assume we've got questions coming in.
Yes. First question would be, will the school district be continuing to serve meals during the building closure, no matter how long that is?
That's a great question. It is our intent to continue the distribution of meals during the closure. The caveat is if anything changes at the direction of the governor, federal government, that would preclude us from doing so, then obviously we would follow those directives. But it is our intent, in partnership with the city, the community policing division, to continue the meal distribution, both the grab and go, which we do through the school district in the morning, and then the partnership with the food bank and the city for the afternoon distribution, which is from 4 to 6 on a Tuesday and Friday. And all the grab and go is 11 to 12:30 on a Tuesday and Friday.
Okay.
And we mentioned those locations earlier. I think it's the same 6 locations. It was Downey, John Harris, Foose, Benjamin Franklin, Roland, and the Cougar Academy, which is located at the administrative building off State Street. And again, grab-and-go lunch available only for students in the district, but the 4 to 6 distributions, including today, from 4 to 6 at those locations, is available to anyone in need. And we're looking at family meal boxes that contain fresh produce and enough food to sustain a whole family. So we hope people will come out today and really take advantage of those.
Okay. We have one more question here. Do cafeteria workers have the necessary protective equipment and the guidelines to stay safe while distributing food as positive coronavirus cases increase in the county?
Yeah, certainly that's something we are continuing to keep an eye on. I mean, the cases in Dauphin County increased, 20, 30 within, several days. So our food service team is equipped. They wear gloves. We do have the ability, if masks would be required, that we would be able to provide that. So that our food service operation is a blended operation. So we have food service team members that are with SFE, which is Southwest Food Excellence, and then we still have district employees that are part of our food service program. But our SFE operates the entire food service operation for our school district. So certainly that is part of our expectations and our requirements, and certainly if there's any issues or concerns in that regard, please just reach out to us at the school district at any point in time.
Great.
Okay, well, I think we covered a lot of valuable information, and we will be replaying this on all of our channels and stations and YouTube and whatnot. The partnership is very much active and continuing, but let me give each of you an opportunity for some concluding thoughts and to mention anything that maybe we haven't covered at this time. So, Dr. Sneath?
I guess the best thing that I can say is, I think all of us are working harder than we maybe ever have. However, I think this crisis has really shown me, and has shown a lot of people, the reason why we're in this field to begin with. And I feel very honored to be a part of the team here in Harrisburg, and I feel very, very protective of the children of Harrisburg, and trying really hard to think differently about all of this so that we can make sure that our kids aren't disadvantaged in any way from any other school district who is providing education at home. We've been really working hard. We've been sharing this idea across the state, and people are impressed with that idea. It's just another way of thinking about it, and it's just another layer of outreach. So hopefully everyone in Pennsylvania will be okay, all of our kids, and hopefully our teachers and our custodians and our food service workers and the volunteers who've been passing food out every day will continue to stay healthy and safe and supportive and positive. I think that's what needs to happen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Just to echo Dr. Snee's comments, I am just so optimistic about how the community has come together and supported the school district, and how the school district has supported the community in return. When we arrived in the summer, the district had tremendous challenges, both financial, academic, et cetera. And we still have challenges over the coming years that we are going to need to face. But this coronavirus has absolutely brought the Harrisburg School District closer together. I think we bonded as an organization at every layer of the organization. And I see positive momentum coming out of this, horrific crisis we're in. And so I don't want to downplay the severity of the situation, but again, I'm looking at silver lining of how this situation helped this community, help the school district grow, and how we'll be stronger as the crisis hopefully subsides and we move forward. But I just can't thank the Harrisburg School District employees enough for everything they've done, specifically in the last 2 weeks, Mayor. They have stepped up time and time again. They are working a lot of hours. Our teachers, our security staff, our food service staff, custodians, facilities, and if I miss anyone, I apologize, but thank you, because they've done a tremendous job allowing us to provide insight, guidance, structure, and they've just kind of followed along with us through this, unimaginable journey several weeks ago. Who had ever thought we would be here today in the state we are? But again, I'm really, really pleased and thankful for the partnerships and for the team members at the Harrisburg School District. So I say thank you again.
And I want to thank you both for joining us today for Facebook Live Community Conversation. I also want to thank our previous guests, Patty Kim and Dauphin County Commissioner Mike Prees. And I want to remind all of you at home to please share this video and also let people know to watch on Channel 20 if they haven't had a chance to participate today. There was a lot of good information conveyed over the course of these sessions. This is a rapidly unfolding crisis. There's a lot of information occurring on a day in, day out basis. We will do our best to communicate with you in many different platforms and forums and get that information to you on a timely basis. But for now, please join us again next Friday for a community conversation. And we thank you very much for watching.